obviously back at work, kind of the same routine as every other week. With the last game, is really what we thought. We had a difficult time up front on offense, handling their guys, and then defensively, they really blocked us a little better than what we'd have wanted them to. And, for that reason, it makes it difficult to function very well. But we had a good practice last night. The guys' spirits are really good, and seen a number of guys over in the office today and getting ready for another very good football team. Baylor is just as explosive as they ever have been. Obviously, quarterbacks playing well, receivers are fast to make plays, running backs get downhill. Defense is more active, in my opinion, than what they have been. Some of the guys that were playing for them last year have matured and are playing very well. So certainly have our hands full, but we're looking forward to another week of practice and continued development and heading down there and playing a game.
Mike, you talked about some of the reasons why you've struggled this year. One thing that hasn't really seemed to happen, though, is improvement, from which I don't know if you're regressing, but most teams improve as the year goes on. You don't seem to be. What's the cause of that?
Well, we really are improving. We're just playing better teams as we've gone on. And then Texas has two guys playing inside for them on defense, in my opinion, are going to be potential NFL players, and they're really good. And so it makes it difficult when they can throw you around. It's really hard to come up with schemes and to call plays when you struggle inside, and that's really the truth of what happened. And so at times they've played better. I thought the quarterback probably played the best game that he's played in a long time, just really didn't have an opportunity to make many plays. But when he did, he got pushed around, made some throws, and had some success. But it was difficult for him from the first time he dropped back all the way till the end of the game.
When an offensive lineman completely whiffs, as I saw a couple times tonight, what is that effort? Is that an inability to execute the block?
Well, there's just times they were better than us. They're playing with there was a couple guys inside who are really good players, and we've got guys that aren't quite at that level yet, and so it's difficult for them, and that makes it extremely difficult to call plays, extremely difficult to draw them up and or protect and throw the ball down the field.
Mike, the spread offense is kind of designed to take some pressure off of the offensive line by quick passes and spreading it out. Are there more things you can do within the spread to alleviate that pressure on those guys, you think?
I don't think so. We've explored as many options as we can, and part of what you're saying is true. Part of what you're saying is not true. It just depends on the way you look at it. Some people feel like a spread offense gives you two short edges and allows more pressure on a quarterback. It just depends on how the defense plays you and how they feel about the strength of the receivers that you have, and then there's a lot more to it than that, but we've explored as many options as we can. We just have to bring some guys along and develop them.
As this thing lingers now for going over a month, at what point do you say what we're doing is not working, we have to do something completely different, or do you just continue to grind away at the same process and do what you do and hope they get better?
Keep doing what we're doing.
Expect it to get better?
Yeah, this week? Yeah, we expect them to play better and improve. I keep answering your question. I don't know how else to say it, but the team we played last week's pretty good on defense. And they're better than the team we played the week before on defense. And so when you play teams that are better, it's hard to have a lot of success against them if you're struggling in certain areas.
Do you expect more success then because maybe Texas is a little better than Baylor on defense, or Baylor's defense is quality also?
So Baylor's defense is pretty good. They move around pretty good. I just watched the Oklahoma tape. Oklahoma is, in people's opinion, pretty good offense, and I wasn't real encouraged when I watched that tape. I got to get to some other ones, but I would say that Baylor's defense is pretty good.
Mike, one of your most explosive playmakers is Tyreek Hill. And obviously, he's done a lot of good things this season, but it would appear the thing he could improve most on is maybe his vision. I mean, I know in the West Virginia game, he made a couple of really good cuts and found open spaces. He had one against Texas the other night. He turned down an alley that he would have gained a lot of yards in. How do you get a guy better with vision, a running back?
Well, I think it's just reps, and a lot of that is natural. He hadn't had as many carries as what some backs would that get to this level. I think he'll improve the more he sees it, but I don't know that you really can set him in a drill that I'm aware of that would make that better. I think the more he sees that and gets a feel for it, that he'll improve and get better.
So when you're thinking about better, do you think first about Linwood or Petty?
Oh, I don't know that you can really pinpoint any of those guys when you talk about what's on the perimeter in the back and the quarterback. And in that situation, it's very similar to what we've had here in times before. And so they have a scheme set up for waiting to see how you line up. And obviously I'm not in their coaches' offices, but when I watch them is you can come up on them and stop the throws in the flat, and they'll try to throw it over your head, or you can stay off of them, they'll throw it in the flat, and then if you walk too many people out, they're going to try to run the ball. It's not really any different than we did when we had Blackman and Kendall and Joe Randall and Whedon. It's all kind of the same concept.
When you are not overly you're in 4 games now, you've lost in a row, and the scores themselves are not competitive. The guys know that they're going to be pretty massive underdogs these next 2 weeks. How do you keep them going? How do you keep them positive? Because they know that everybody expects them to lose. And I'm trying to think, maybe it was 0-1, the last time that you were here as, I guess, offensive coordinator, and Oklahoma State was a massive underdog and scored an upset. How do you keep them positive enough to pull that anatomy of an upset?
Well,
so
one,
to
you
speak?
tell them the truth, which we do every week. And 2, that they're expected to prepare. They signed up for this. We all did. And so each week, no matter the outcome, they're expected to prepare, understand the game plan, and practice hard and give good effort. And that's all we can ask from any of them. The guys that are young and are underdeveloped at this time, they're improving, but they're just not to the point where what it's been here over the last 5 or 6 years.
Do you recall, was that kind of the message when Les was here in 01, 02 when you guys beat Oklahoma, shocked them? You know, they're defending national champs.
I can't remember that far back. Too many things to keep me from remembering that far back, to be honest with you. I'm going to guess that it's fairly consistent throughout college football. I don't know that anybody has any speech that makes it happen, any locker room speech. I think it's just based on the players, and continue to work hard and stay with the practice plan, try to get players healthy, and improve.
Are you a big supporter or acknowledge sports psychologists or anything like that? Guys can, go talk to somebody and be encouraged. Or
I think there's some times that maybe those guys are beneficial. There's enough people that use them. I don't know that that really falls in this category. I think there's some mental blocks in all of sports, and maybe that people have used them and said it worked for them, but I don't think that would be the case in our circumstance.
Mike, earlier today on the Big 12 call, you were asked about coaching spirit. Yeah, I thought you had a good answer there. Would you expand on it a little bit, or just about, you said even you have to coach your assistants up?
I think in my position, I have to coach everybody up. We're evaluated on wins and losses. We're expected to graduate players and make sure they never get in any off-the-field issues, but ultimately nobody cares about that. They only care about you winning and losing games. That's just kind of talk that people throw out there. And, you just go back on the history of everything we do today, and it's just been magnified by social network. People communicate more, and everybody is frustrated when you're not winning, and so they vent through computers, and it just kind of stirs the pot more and more. So there's a lot of people that work in our facility that want to win every Saturday, and my job is to keep everybody going. Myself, the coaches, people in the building, strength and conditioning, equipment, medicine staff, and players. Because human instinct is to go run and hide and hope it gets better and make people feel sorry for you. But what I was alluding to is that that's never been a positive resource for success, in my opinion. So we continue to push forward and work, and I mean, I'm really doing great, honestly, because I see the players working hard. If we ever have players that start to not give effort, then I have a real concern with that, because ultimately in the big picture that's more important than them coming along slower than what other people outside the program would want them to. So we have guys that are giving effort. There was 4 or 5 plays that I thought we had players that weren't competing at a high level, so we pointed out during meetings, we talk about it, and then we move forward.
And a couple of early plays, kind of bailed out on a route. I don't know what he saw because the TV copy, I wasn't here. The TV copy doesn't show everything, so it looked like he 1-2 and then got the heck out of there. He kind of rattled, got happy feet, and then later on he started getting beat up a little bit, especially in the first half. Is his confidence a concern of yours right now as a former quarterback who knows that confidence is kind of everything when you step back to throw it?
Sure.
You're worried that he might be?
I'm not worried, but you always want a quarterback to feel comfortable in the pocket, and for me to sit up here and say that he feels comfortable in the pocket right now, that you guys should walk out of here. Now, it's almost kind of a rule, if you're not here, you can't ask questions about the game. Where were you at?
I was in Lubbock, Texas.
Okay. What was going on out there?
In a football game.
Oh. Anyway, you're right. You always worry about a quarterback having confidence in the pocket. And there's times when he's comfortable and his feet are set, he really throws the ball well. There's times that he moves before he should, understandably so. So we work to make that protection better, but then we also work with him to try to keep him where he's comfortable so he can have good vision down the field. He played better in this game when you compare the situation he was in to the last few weeks than I thought he had played in about a month.
Mike, a different question about Dax. As a quarterback, you know how you related with your offensive lineman. Obviously, that's a tight relationship generally. He is getting beat up. Those guys are young. They don't intentionally want to let guys hit him. What's that dichotomy right now, Dax and that offensive line? Because they've got to be a unit.
I haven't noticed any issues with any personnel on our team. Those guys, Dax, anybody on defense, offense. So I'm comfortable with where we're at as a group. You guys talk to them some. I mean, I don't read or know what they say, but, I mean, you probably get information from them. You can ask those guys. I think that they're all doing very well. I think they have a lot of respect for Dax, and I have not seen Dax show frustration and start to jump on those guys for not having success, because he knows they're giving effort. He can watch the tape and see they're giving effort.
That's good.
Coach Gundy, this is not a loaded question, but can you evaluate the improvement that you have seen? Because it's hard for us to evaluate that because you see it day by day, incrementally, day by day. Can you kind of evaluate progress that the young men have made this season, and are you satisfied with that, or do you think they should be further along?
Well, it'll take a long time to do that, but I can give you an example. Last Saturday, Ramon, 18, he was much better than he was a month ago. He was playing against guys that were really good players, and he was in position to make plays more so than he was a month ago. 31, got beat deep on a ball, but for the most part, going against the speed and the people that he played against, he's been better over the last couple weeks. Now, did Lockett beat him? Yes. He get beat the other night by that one fast guy they have, or one of the fast guys they have? Yes. But I look at those guys are playing 70 plays a game, and the plays that they don't see are the ones where they're in the right spot. Okay, Jarrell Morrow, number 5, got beat on a post corner over here. He's a freshman. He hadn't seen it enough. Guy gave him an inside move and beat him. Hopefully at this time next year, he'll see it. He'll get a feel for it. He'll stay more outside. If he knows he has safety help inside, doesn't need to lean that way. Those are the things where improvement should be over a period of time. Number 10, Seth, continues to get better each week. He's improved and is in the right spot. His location's good, things like that. I mean, I could go on. Dax is better than he was 6 weeks ago. I don't know who else is playing, but number 60 for us, the offensive lineman. He's doing a little bit better practice-wise. You know, he had an ankle. And, you know, when you're 295 pounds and you have an ankle, a severe ankle, it's hard to post and set guys down. But he's doing a little better now. He's getting better. 74 is whiffed a couple times Saturday. Those guys that are playing right now, they're better than him. Those two guys that played in there, they're better than him, period. And he whiffed some, but there was also times that he fought, and he never gave up. And so there's improvement there. Washington, the receiver, dropped the ball out here, but he made a couple plays. He ran the ball one time down on the 2-yard line, ducked his shoulder, ran through a tackle, scored a touchdown. Those are productive things where I see improvement from young players. Now, do those want to make everybody that likes OSU football jump up and down and say that's awesome? No, because ultimately their bottom line is wins and losses.
I want to ask you about the comment you made just now about Dax, better than he was 6 weeks ago. For instance, when I watched Texas play, Tyrone Swoops, when he drops back and sets his feet, bounces up, steps up, and delivers a pass, you can see the improvement from where he was in week 2, week 3, week 4. Are you seeing that with Dax as well? I mean, it doesn't jump out at you like it does with somebody like
Have you seen him
Swoops.
step up and bounce without getting hit?
That's a good point.
Better point than your question. It's a nice try, though. I like it. I like your attitude. That's awesome. I gave in. I admitted. I've been in those shoes. I've been in that situation. I went through a tough year in 1989 where I got hit a lot. So I don't really know what your goal is or what you're asking me, but I can tell you this. He's much better than he was, but he's been hit a lot. The kid is tougher than all get out, and he continues to fight. I'm not trying to blow your story up. I don't know what direction you're going here, but we have to work to protect him better, but you also play a team like Texas who plays a lot of 7-man coverage. Well, if you keep extra guys in and send 3 people out, it's really hard to get people open. So you're kind of caught in between. You've watched a ton of football games, right? You send more guys out, you got a better chance to spread the field. You keep more guys in, you can't spread the field, more guys covering those guys. So you try to mix it up, keep them off balance here and there. And they were better than we were last week up front, period. I mean, I don't know what else to say. That's it. It's like the other team had a guy that could throw 100 and came in and he's a closer in the 8th and 9th inning and nobody could hit his fastball. You may have a 300 hitter, but if he can't hit his fastball because he throws 100, then they're better than you are. Right now up front, we don't have 300 hitters. We're floating around 220 right now. But I'm not trying to kill your story. I'm just giving you my answer. Yeah.
That position gets graded a lot on decisions, and that's kind of what I was alluding to when I asked about him earlier. His decision making, did he get a higher grade on that? Because I thought
that's when you talk about evaluating him, and this has become his press conference. His decision making in the last game was the best it's been. He had 3 bad passes. Okay, he also had several plays where protection broke down and he got out of the pocket and made plays. So he was productive as a player. We have to evaluate him on what are his opportunities to be productive. Some plays he didn't have a chance to be productive, so you can't give him a minus. And that's the way we evaluate him when I say that he played better, because the team he played was pretty good. Texas is pretty good on defense right now. And his mental approach and his mental grade was better in this game than it was, a month ago or 6 weeks ago, whatever it was.
For 5 years, you've been on this roll where you've won 8 or 9 or 10, and you've had these top...
Or 11 or 12.
Yeah.
And don't kill me on the drill. I mean...
in these top 25 recruiting classes. So now that you're going through this, does it result in having to do more maintenance of the guys you've got committed, or does it make your job tougher in recruiting?
You know, it's interesting because we have the same conversations in our meetings. Like, we think a lot about things, and you guys obviously follow us enough, so you think the same way. And we had a really good recruiting weekend with some really, really good players. And we can never name names, but I'll give you an example. There's 3 or 4 other guys that I communicate with, and we may be down to us in 2 or 3 other schools. So those things cross your mind. And the other schools that they're talking about, their records are worse than ours. So I thought, that's a pretty good deal. So players nowadays, young men, are different than players we recruited 10, 15 years ago. They want to know they can be treated and coached with respect. They want a chance to get on the field and play early, and they want to make the highlights on ESPN. That's what they want. Now, you take the education and all that part aside. I'm talking about the football side of it, okay? Because if you get up here and say that, somebody's going to get mad and say kids do care about education, okay? I'm talking about the football side. They want to play. They want to play early. They want to make the highlight tape. They want their coach to coach them. More so than what it used to be in the past, in my opinion.
Mike, there's a service in Las Vegas that offers early
Are you betting on horses
for
again?
lack of a better word, betting odds on college football stuff, national. Who's going to win the national championship? Who's going to win the Heisman? They have today installed you as a 4-1 favorite for the Florida job. Mm-hmm. Any thoughts about that?
It's crazy.
That's a pretty strong statement. What you're saying, that's crazy.
Oh, I just said it was crazy. I thought you were betting on horses again.
Is that all you want to say about it? No.
Yeah, I don't have any interest in talking about other jobs.
I mean, there's some jobs you might get linked to and you think, that's interesting. And there's some jobs maybe that make you say, that's real interesting.
I just don't have any interest in that. I'm concerned with tomorrow's practice.
Mike, when you're talking about the fans, come to expect a certain standard of football, what can you tell them now to make them think, we're not very good this year, everybody gets it,
Nothing.
but things are going to get better next year? Can you say anything? Can you say anything to make people feel better about next year?
It's like certain things with your wife. It's not going to matter what you say, and the things, right? I mean, because you're going to lose, and you just kind of say it's the way it is. What I would say to them is, one, that there's a real strong commitment from the people involved in our organization. Two, that the players are trying to do the right thing, and they're playing with effort, and if they're not, we're correcting them. Three, at times, things look a lot worse than they really are, and when you're in a situation where personnel does not favor you, then you're not as far away as really people think you are. Now, I also understand that, and I'm okay with that. It doesn't bother me, and I'm glad that people think that we should be successful here all the time, and like Bill said, with the victories, and that's the way we want it to be. So we just continue to move forward. What I would do is, I've never been critical of fans at any time, because everybody has a right to say what they want and yell at me and yell at the players or not show up, or either way. But I would encourage the people that love OSU and love OSU football to continue to support the players. I think that's productive for this university. I think that's productive for our team, and I think that's productive for the recruiting, as Bill mentioned, in the future of our organization. If they choose to not do that because they're frustrated at the players or at the coaches, then if it were my son and I was giving him advice, I would say you need to support the team, like I do when their high school team doesn't play as well as they wanted to at times. And I said on a Friday night a year ago, where are you going? Aren't you going to the high school game? Well, no, because they stink. And I said, well, there's been times that I've watched you play games and you stink too. People came and watch you like me and your mom. And I sat there and thought, what the hell's going on? Why am I actually watching this? But I still come and watch you. And so he looked at me and I said, what you need to do is you need to get your butt to that game, because those are your friends, and you need to support your team and your school. And so that would be my message. But I certainly understand everybody having their own opinion and wanting to do what they want to do. I just know what I think, in my opinion, which probably obviously they don't want to hear, is best for Oklahoma State football. That's a long answer if I'd show up at the games.
Did your son go to the game that night?
Yes, because I still control. I pay for his insurance. I have his gas money. So,
Expectations from the fans aside, when you see that effort week by week and it hasn't resulted in wins, how badly do you want to see it on the scoreboard for your
Sure.
players, the ones that are putting in that effort every day?
well, and these are fair questions, but even for the fans, I mean, if anybody thinks that Coach Gundy and the staff and the players and the people that are here every day don't want the fans to be happy, they've lost their mind. We want them to be that way. But I get disappointed for the players because there's a lot of work that goes in. It happens everywhere in college football. The one thing that we have to respect, and I mean we, meaning I'm a coach, but also other sports, okay? These guys play in pain all the time. I mean, there's guys playing, they're in pain. I mean, they're hurt. Shoulders are hurt, knees are hurt, ankles are hurt. They're getting hit in the head. There's concussions. They're playing with ribs that are hurt, and so we should respect that. It's a violent game played by guys that choose to go out and be a warrior, in my opinion. So we should respect that, and I hate that for them because there's a lot of work that goes in 365. But the long and short is this, that here's where we're at, and here's the direction we need to go from this point forward. And if we ever take our eyes off that goal, any of us that's involved in this organization, then we're failing the fans, the people that want us to win, because that means we're not focused on what we should be doing.
Even if you don't really pay much attention to the Las Vegas, Florida thing, in that it comes out when you're 5-5, don't you think that's a nice statement about your program? That somebody would fire you up at the top of that list of guys?
I'm not following you.
You don't think it's a nice compliment to your program that you would be listed as the favorite for the Florida job when you're 5-5?
Well, I think there's two things here. And again, you guys asked me, I'll be honest with you. I think it's honest. I think it's awesome that we can lose 31 guys that played in the Cotton Bowl or were factors in the game, and then everybody thinks all of a sudden we should win 10 games again. I think that's awesome. That shows a lot of respect for us. I wish we were providing that right now. I don't think there's any question that most people in the country would say that Florida is probably one of the top 10 schools in the country, tradition-wise, history-wise, with everything they have. So I think that's a credit to the university and to the football program where we're at now. Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that.
Speaking of fans from the previous question, the number one OSU fan had some comments about the program on Saturday in Saturday's Austin American-Statesman. Did you happen to see that? Boone Pickens. You didn't see what he said?
I didn't know. I don't read the paper.
I thought this one might have made its way back to you somehow.
I didn't get it.
Okay. Did you want me to read it to you?
I mean, not really.
Not really.
That doesn't make a difference.
Let me ask the question.
Unless it can help me in the game this Saturday, it doesn't really make a difference.
Maybe it'll motivate you. I don't know.
Was it negative?
I don't know. I'll let you make that.
Well, I mean, if it was negative, I don't want to know. If it's positive, it'll make me feel better.
It was just a comment. He was asked, "Are you still supportive of Mike Gundy as the head coach?" And the quote is, "My response to that is, I'm certainly supportive of Oklahoma State University. I'm always going to be for OSU, and I don't care who coaches them."
That's awesome. I happen to be the coach, so that means he's supporting me.
Would you like to hear him come out and say that he likes you and likes your job you're doing, and Mike Gundy's really raised the program?
I don't need anybody to tell me that they like me or dislike me. I don't really care. I just like to coach my guys and keep playing ball.
The guy whose name is on the stadium?
I don't know what to say. I mean, I don't know what to say. The guy, he's old enough to make his own comments now, right? I mean, I can't control what he says.
Thanks.
I'll go back to one of my original questions, Mike. What you said about the fans is you really can't win trying to explain. I understand that. How about just us? Are things going to get better next year, do you think, in terms of blocking people, for instance?
Sure.
You think you're going to be in a lot better shape next year? Because we talked,
earlier
we were talking about at the end of last season, looking ahead, you wondered, are we going to be very good on the offensive line next year? And it's come to pass or not. So, I mean, can you look ahead and say, you know what, things are going to be better next year?
You guys asked me, and I told you I had a great concern with our offensive line, I think is what I said, because of youth and inexperience. And they'll get better, and we'll have a little more depth at certain positions, and they should improve. All right, guys, I got to get back to work. I went over my limit.
You have a limit?
Huh?